Hello everybody, how are you doing? I have the feeling that right now, given the climate, and I'm not talking about the change of climate, I'm talking about the climate in which we find ourselves, I think many of us might be a little bit like, what on earth is going to happen? I want to help you with that. I want to tell you kind of a way of managing this situation, which is coming. And it was always going to come. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So I was chatting with the emissaries about how things are, as I always do, and they said everything is running beautifully. The wheels of the plan are turning and the wheels are well oiled. And I said, but what about all this that's coming? How do we deal with it? And it's interesting, I've been re-listening to the book by Anthony DeMello called Awareness. And there's a portion in that, it's a bizarre book. It really is. I've read that book, I don't know how many times now, 10, 15 times. And every time I hear something new. And it's like, at the time when I heard it before, I wasn't ready, or it wasn't pertinent. And now it's very pertinent. So they referred me to the bit that I listened to the audiobook, the bit I was listening to, in which he said, we have to learn self-observation. Okay? People who are awake observe themselves. And I was kind of, how does that work? And he kind of explained, he said, nobody can tell you how to do it. Okay? I'm going to have a go. But it's just, what I tell you is just a metaphor. But it's a system that I use a lot, and I use it in situations that are stressful for me. Situations where perhaps before I might have been scared, like the dentist. Self-observation is where you come out of your physical body and you observe what's happening. Now, in NLP, when you learn NLP, if you do a practitioner course, you learn something called perceptual positions. What that is that you say, I've got a problem. You are in the problem. And it's very difficult, to see the wood for the trees. You can't really see beyond the problem. It's there. And so what perceptual positions does, it gets you to come out of your body and stand as an observer, observing you and the problem. Now what happens is when you do that, suddenly you aren't linked to the problem, you are observing the problem. And so you're looking and you have these incredible insights. You have these understandings. And not only that, but because we are become the observer rather than the beer of the issue, what happens is we can start seeing a little bit more clearly. I'd written down in my notes, you start seeing the reality, but that's not true because we haven't got the capability of perceiving reality. But what we can do is get a different perception on what's happening. Okay? This is what happens when you talk to somebody else about your problem and they give you this other opinion, one that you've never had. And you go, wow, I never really thought about it that way. Well, it's the same when you come out away from the problem and you observe yourself. Now, in perceptual positions, they get you to come out of that first position into second position, into third, into fourth, into fifth, and you can carry on. And every time that you change perception, you get more information, you get more understanding, and also you're not linked to the problem. And so it's easy to become more pragmatic, I suppose, about it. Well, this system is the one that Anthony DeMello was talking about, which is self-observation. The example that I would give you is when I'm in the dentist, I come out of my body and I go up to the corner of the room and I observe what's happening. Now, what happens is this, automatically when you come out of your body, anyone had an out-of-body experience by accident? It's the same thing. When you come out of your body, then any kind of discomfort, any kind of feeling is diminished. And it would only increase if you went back into your body. So when you come out of your body, you lose that strong emotion. And obviously, if you come out a few times, in fact, the NLP phobia cure literally is that, is coming out of the fear, observing it, and then coming out again. Okay? So self-observation, as we progress into these times, is actually just impartially observing what's happening. Now that's easy to say and it's difficult to do, but it is doable. And it's something that I've learned by going through these last 3 years where I was very involved. I was very, very taking it personally. This is an important kind of expression. We take things very personally. Why? Because we're in it. It's happening to us. But when you become the observer of what's happening, and this is very Zen, it's very meditation, and, take a step back and become the observer of your own self. What happens is that you don't take things personally. You don't take the stupidity, and let's be honest, it is stupidity. In fact, I would go as far as to say, it's fucking stupidity. You don't take it personally. It's not against you. You see, when you think that you're being attacked, when they're attacking you, well, what happens? You go into fight or flight, you can't think properly, your body does weird stuff. It redistributes resources. And not in a good way, not in a way that helps you think better. It helps you run away or fight, and that's great at times because we do need to fight sometimes, and we do need to run away sometimes. But not all the time. Imagine being in fight or flight for 3 years. I think I was in fight or flight for a year. I was very agitated and it was very personal to me. And what I learned was that was a waste of my resources, truly. Because what happened? We got through it. I got to the other side. I was still breathing. My family's still breathing. Okay, I know that lots of people suffered a lot during that time. But if you were still watching me and you have gone through that, you know that it wasn't life-threatening. And you know that it had an end, just as everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so what's coming, even now, I've done a lot of things. I've stepped back, and I know lots of you have stepped away from all of this, getting in the muck. And I'm starting to observe. What do observers do? Well, observers just watch without feeling tremendous amounts of emotion. They watch and they observe. Now, when you do that, you can really start to see patterns. You can start to see plans. You can start to see this playbook that they have, which is Minging. It's a Minging playbook. It never changes. It's the same one. And what's the principal playbook that they have? Make people scared. How do you get people to be scared? They take it personally. Think it's them. Think that it could affect them. They could die. They could be in trouble. Or the very close ones. But even if you're worried about your family, it's still a personal thing. This is my family. Yeah. So what we have to start doing is just literally in as a metaphor and also in kind of our imagination is when we feel ourselves in the moment going, oh my God, step back and look at it. Step back and see that there's nothing different. We watched, we watched half of it, a film called Contagion. And it came out in 2016, I think, or 17. Oh my God, it was the COVID playbook. I mean, identical. And obviously the Contagion thing was a real one. People were collapsing, as we say up north, collapsing everywhere. And they really were dying. But the process, what they laid out, the CDC, the WHO, all what we saw. It was the perfect example of the playbook. If you haven't seen Contagion, I recommend that you watch it. You don't have to, because you've seen it anyway. We have seen that film. But it's just interesting that it was like 4 years before the event. But that's what we have to be. We have to be the people sitting on the sofa watching it and saying, oh yeah, I see that now. Oh yes, here it comes. And I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, are we fortune tellers? Can we read the future? Yes, because it's easy. It's piss easy. All we have to do is know what their playbook is. We know it. And so it shouldn't come as a surprise, and therefore it shouldn't come as an upset to us, because it's the same one. Are people going to fall for it? Of course they are. But are all of the people going to fall for it that fell for it the last time? Of course they're not. I mean, I did a video recently about, this is bigger than we think. And I'm talking about the people who are awake. Lots of people are saying, oh, I'm not sure about that. And I understand their fears. But I just know what I do is I do what's called activity sampling. Okay? And I would call this attitude sampling. I sample people's attitudes now compared to when all of this started. And boy, they're different. They are different. Not everybody understands this. Not everybody like that. There's still some plonkers who are plonking about, wearing what they want to wear and doing, getting into queues already for the new one that's about to hit, this new one. But they're always going to be there. I listened to somebody who was talking about the three groups of people in the world. There's the group that we are in, which is the no fucking way, yeah, and we're the people with a voice. But our voice has been cancelled, reduced, quietened, everything. They've done everything in their power to shut that up. Why? It's ever so important that they shut us up. It's ever so important. The reason is because the second group is the group that smells a rat. The group that knows that things aren't right. However, they are the group that sways. And they just go for the loudest voice. Whoever's shouting the loudest, they'll go with that. And then you've got the third group. And the third group are the NPCs. Call them what you will. The Robotrons. The people who just do what they're told. The people who get into line when you're told to get into line. And yeah, have you tested that? No. Get it in me. The government knows what's right. They're the people, right? That group. It was described as being the 33% group. So we've got this 33% group that won't change. They won't change. But we've got this middle group, the one who smells a rat. What's happening is the middle group is filtering off into our group. So this middle group that used to be, a third, a third, a third, this one's getting smaller and they're filtering over to us. What's going to happen is this: when we become loud enough, the whole group's going to follow us. And all that's going to be left are the 33% of plonkers who are just going to do what they're told. What's happened over the last 3 years? It's been fantastic. The media, yeah, the government, people aren't paying attention to it. So what's happening is their voice is quieter. This is really important. This is the key thing. Their voice is quieter. Our voice is getting louder. How? Because there are loads of independent media that's sprung up. And, call them what you will. They're talking about things that the main media would never talk about. And they're having a louder and louder voice. More people, look how many people, I know I mentioned this, look how many people are watching Tucker Carlson compared to people who are watching the news. So there's something going on. When we get a loud voice, when we get the voice that's the loudest, then we get more people. And of course, when they bring on all of this stupidity, more people are going to come to us anyway because they're already smelling a rat. So it's a done deal. However, what we have to do is stay out of fear. And how do we do it? We do it by observing. Becoming observers. That means not ranting and crying and wailing and moaning. It's observing and then taking care of ourselves. And we've got lots of work to do. So our focus is on work for us, not them. They don't deserve our energy. They don't deserve our attention. And so that's what we've got to do. Let's observe. So we have to get a pipe out. When you smoke a pipe, everything stops. I'm not suggesting that you should start smoking, but like that idea of, suck the end of your pen and just watch, or chew a straw, like the yokel in the village, chewing a straw, watching stuff happen. And when it happens, what do? Well, we say things like this: dearie me. What are they like? Good grief. There's the same thing over and over again. That's how you have to do it. You have to just not laugh about it, but not cry about it either. Just watch it. And watch it. And, at the beginning, people used to say, I even said, get your popcorn out and watch it. That's a metaphor, but it's true. I don't suggest I eat popcorn. I don't think it's that good. If it's covered in caramel, I don't think it's that good. But it's that principle of just watch. Just watch. And watch them collapse into a messy heap, because that's where they're going to end up. I love you all. I'll speak to you all later. Bye-bye.